friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Hawkinsimmer, and today we're doing another speed build. So this is my third build featuring the new Sims 4 Werewolves pack. I have already uploaded 2 other builds, the first one being a family traditional kind of cabin, and the other one is a upscale hermit's cabin, because it's just a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom is the hermit part, but I just couldn't make it ugly, so sorry. I don't know. I'm not good at that. But anyway, this is the third build. The first 2 were base game and werewolf only. This one is all the occult packs, so that means base game, werewolves, vampires, island living, and realm of magic. I did a few Twitter polls to see, because I'm not an occult player. I'm not sure how it all works. So if you have strong opinions, let me know. But I asked Twitter, you can follow me there at Hawkinsimmer, if paranormal stuff was considered an occult pack. And there were strong feelings for both sides, but I believe that poll eventually came to a no. And then I also asked if Strangerville was considered an occult pack, and yeah, same thing. Strong feelings. I don't know. Listen, I don't know, and I don't have a horse in this race. I just wanted to use the beautiful doors that come with Strangerville was really the motivation for asking, and I got more than I bargained for. Everyone was obviously very kind, but yeah, strong feelings. So if you have strong feelings, please feel free to let me know in the comments down below. I would love to talk to you about it, as someone who's a pretty vanilla in terms of CC and things, but in terms of I don't really play with occults or care about occults. But anyway, so this is a Victorian home. I was trying to figure out what is the best style to include in this world that would also fit all of the occults, and I'd say the least represented in this particular build is definitely mermaids. That occult came with a pack that is very specific, so that one is definitely the least represented. And then I would say probably Realm of Magic maybe, but I don't know, because I wanted to build in Moonwood Mill, the new world that we have, and that world is, you know, an old logging community, so you wouldn't necessarily think of Victorian, but I guess for me, and maybe this is just very American and very white centric, maybe, that I would consider Victorian style builds to be more universal than say a vampire isn't gonna live in a log cabin. That doesn't sound quite correct, but a werewolf could live in an old Victorian home. Does that make sense? I don't know, but that was the vibe. So this old Victorian home is just a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bathroom home. It has a detached garage outside, as well as a cute little gazebo. I will eventually be moving that all around. There's also going to be a pool, and then inside the main living area is open. Other than the dining room is more of closed off, and yeah, I think it turned out pretty well. I've actually done a very similar floor plan to this. It made me think of this other house that I did forever ago. It was a light blue coastal farmhouse, I think. And they if they're not the same floor plan flipped, I would be shook. I'm pretty sure they're identical, but obviously a totally different vibe. And that one is also blue, so that's kind of funny, but a totally different kind of vibe in here. So I did struggle to pick out windows. I felt like the stark white windows kind of they just weren't quite the vibe, but I also felt like the ones with black shutters weren't really the vibe. I don't know why. Also, take a shot every time I say vibe. I can't stop saying it. I don't know why, but I don't know, I kind of struggled with the color scheme a little bit. I didn't want to do blue. I wish we had 3,000 more swatches of this siding, but we don't. And blue felt the most appropriate. I almost did white. I really thought about doing white, and then I didn't. And I don't know, maybe that was the right choice. Maybe I should have done white, but that didn't seem to really match what I was going for. I wanted to go for a more eclectic vibe, and white can be kind of, I don't know, kind of boring, I guess, sometimes. So I didn't want it to seem boring. And honestly, I spend so much time on the exterior of this build, a stupid amount of time, like over half the video for sure is the exterior. I don't know, I kind of struggled with where to put things a little bit. And then you won't see this, I edited around this, but when I build, I don't typically sit down and do one build in one sitting very often. I usually have to do it over a couple of days. I've had a few new subscribers, so if you don't know, I do work a full-time job, 40 hours a week in an office, and don't always have the time to build. So when I have the time, I fit in an hour of building or so, and then I have to build again another night. So that, of course, is how this build went, considering it's so long. I did a lot of the exterior, almost all of it, like 90% of it in one sitting, and then I loaded back in and all of the terrain paint was gone. Try not to be grouchy about it because it hasn't happened to me in a while. I'm not sure what that glitch is. Like, what exactly is throwing that, because it doesn't happen every time, and I don't understand. And it's frustrating because I rely very heavily on terrain paint. I use a lot of it. I used to not, so it wouldn't have been so frustrating, but now I use it as a foundation for everything. I mean, I put it all the way around the builds, typically do some driveways with multiple different terrain paints, and then this pack specifically, we got a new terrain paint swatch, but they made it base game too, actually. Both this gravel and the brown that is under the flagstone path are new, and I use one for the flagstone path to match the the little path that doesn't actually touch the lot so very frustratingly. And I use a different one to add around the landscaping. I don't know why. I'm not sure. I think mostly because the one that we got recently isn't as dark as this one that I typically use for under the landscaping. And I want this to look like mulch or shadow, even to kind of just be a shadow around the landscaping. So I don't know. That's why I use two, I guess. But anyway, how are you? I feel like I've been kind of out of it lately. I have been doing Sims things, but I took a couple weeks off a couple of weeks ago now, and I'm still kind of getting back into the swing of things, and still I was off Twitter too, so I'm refamiliarizing myself with all of my Twitter people that I follow and catching back up on everyone's content. Man, I follow some really talented people, and that's so fun. It's really fun to feel inspired by other people. And I don't know, I have one real life friend who plays The Sims, but it's much less than I do, and we play very differently. She loves CC mostly because she wants to make very realistic spaces, and I obviously play very vanilla, so But anyway, I'm doing a lot of landscaping. A long time ago, I asked if people were not about the landscaping, and everyone was like, no, we love it. So I always leave it in now, but I always think this is so boring. I don't think it's boring when other people show it in their videos, but I think it's boring when I do it, because I just do I pick 3 or 4 plants, and then I just place the same plants over and over again. I try not to be totally symmetrical, which can be hard, but I do try not to be completely symmetrical. I try to make it balanced, but not mirror image across a build, I guess. But anyway, there's so much going on in the world right now. Again, if you're new here, sorry, I can't just talk about the game. I just can't do it. It's not for me. So if you're not interested in hearing, I don't know, my personal feelings about things or about my life, I talk about my life a lot on here. And I don't know if that's annoying. You can totally mute me. I would not be offended by that. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I shouldn't have to preface that, but I guess I do. I don't know. No one has complained. I don't know why I'm saying all of these things. I don't know. Struggle. But so much is happening in the world. I am doing this voiceover yesterday in your time. This is going up on Monday, and I'm doing the voiceover on Sunday, and it's been a heck of a few days. I don't know. I don't know what to think about the world right now, about the US right now. It's very nauseating. it's like I was trying to tell a friend because he was like, I don't know why people are shocked. And I was like, I don't think that people are shocked. But at the same time, like, we are. Like, we're not, but we are. Like, I see how this happened, but also what the actual fuck is happening? You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm obviously, if you're unaware, if you're not from the US, or if maybe you don't pay a whole lot of attention to current events, the Supreme Court just overturned Roe versus Wade, which protected many things. And I think, namely, that a woman's right to choose, or a person with a uterus's right to choose whether or not they can have an abortion was overturned, making that a choice of the individual states. And I live in a very conservative state, and actually our governor has already added abortion bans to the upcoming agenda, and that's very frustrating. And again, it's not that I'm surprised by that at all. That's not surprising at all. It's just it's very frustrating. If you're a very liberal person living in a very liberal state, or even, like those odd cities that are liberal within a very conservative state, just know that, like, being a liberal, I mean, I'm not saying it's like, I'm not trying to have a pissing contest here about who's having a harder time by any means, but being a liberal in a very conservative, deep red state is very, very frustrating. It feels very powerless, I guess. And that's speaking from someone of incredible privilege. I am educated. I'm a white woman. Like, I'm cisgendered. Like, those things definitely set me up for success in a lot of areas. And it's still incredibly frustrating. And I don't know. I don't know. Actually, I just had someone add me on Twitter. Or excuse me, I'm an old woman. Follow me on Twitter. Who's very clearly pro forced birth, and I've made it pretty clear that I'm not. So I obviously didn't follow this person back, and I just made a quick tweet like, hey, just so you know, if you're not about this life, you might want to just, you might just want to make your exit, because I'm not the one. So let me just say that here too. I'm not the one. I was raised very conservatively, so there's not anything that you could try to tell me about that I haven't already heard and probably believed at one time. So I'm really not interested in hearing whatever you've got to say, because I know what I think is backed by science and math and numbers and statistics and tangible things, and I'm just not willing to hear anything else unless it's peer reviewed. Baby, don't show it to me. I'm not interested. I'm just really not. So if that's you, again, just bounce, baby. I'm almost 30 years old. I don't have time. Sorry, huge tangent. I just I don't know. I'm the type of person who can't separate art from the artist. I've never been that kind of person at all. I feel like art is a direct reflection of the artist, and I'm just not like that. So for me, if you're like me, I would not want any of my subscribers to think that these weren't my stances. I guess I want to be very plain about what I'm about and what I stand for. So I don't know. That was really long. Sorry, it wasn't meant to be. I just think it's important to make it very clear where I stand. But anyway, back to the build. We're in the garage. I do the same things I do in most of my garages. I put a workbench in there and maybe a piece of workout equipment and some trash cans, and I call it square. So that was the garage. As you can see, I set up a cute little pool area. This pool area makes me think of a movie that I watched in college. I can't remember what the name is. It's definitely a classic movie, and there's a pool like this, and there's too many trees around the pool, and there would be so many leaves in the pool. It's one of those vivid memories, but I can't remember what the movie is or what even happens in the scene. I think some old ladies fight poolside, and then one of them pushes the other one into the pool. If anyone knows what movie that is, probably from the movie's probably from the 60s. Yeah, that seems right. I don't know. I'm bad at timelines. I'm really bad with dates, so You're welcome. This video is all over the place. You're so welcome. But anyway, I'm just cluttering up this big wraparound porch. I thought that made a lot of sense for this Victorian home. I wanted there to be lots of outdoor seating. The problem is none of these packs have very good outdoor seating, except for perhaps Island Living, and the objects from that pack don't necessarily lend themselves incredibly well to this design style. But I think I made them work. Like, I used those items for the back patio, and I think they seem to not be like out of place, I guess. I don't know. So now that I've built pretty exclusively with all of the occult packs, I definitely have favorites and least favorites. I don't think that any of them are necessarily bad, but I would say my favorite for sure is definitely vampires. I think that one has some really good items in it. But then I'd say tied maybe, or maybe just a step below, would be Island Living. And I say that because I feel like they have more contemporary staple items that didn't necessarily work for this particular design style, but work for most other design styles. I really, really like Island Living. And I would put Werewolves and Realm of Magic kind of on the next lower tier. I just don't think that so many of the items from those packs are as universal, which is unfortunate because there are some items in these packs that I really, really love. I really like the little firewood basket. You know what those are called. You knew what I meant. Firework basket that we got with this pack. I think that thing is super darling. Love it, love it, love it. I also love the siding. I really like the new roof paints. I think those are nice. Honestly, I think what puts vampires up there, which I really do like a lot of objects from vampires, would be this wallpaper. Excuse me? I feel like no one has ever pointed it out to me, and that's sad because it was obviously someone else's responsibility to tell me that this wallpaper had the cutest swatches in the world. It's still not as good as the wallpaper from Paranormal Stuff, but I wasn't allowed to use that pack in this build. This and the other blue one, ooh, and the gray one and the beigey one, ma'am, stop it. Stop it. Love it. Love it. Love it really hard. Worked really well for this build. I really wanted to make all of the walls that wallpaper, but I felt like that might be a little bit overwhelming. So I tried to use it kind of sparingly, but I thought I made it work. So we're moving on into the dining room. Originally, when I had mapped out this build, I kind of thought that entryway would be an entryway and then a door into a half bath and laundry combo room. But obviously laundry, I can decipher that laundry day is not an occult pack, so I couldn't include it. But I still wanted to have a half bath. There was too much space to have just a half bath, so I rearranged it a little bit. It's kind of an awkward little hallway, but I don't know, old Victorian homes are kind of awkward, baby. That's just the name of the game. But I just finished up the little dining room. It's a little understated for this style of home, I think, but I don't know, I figured someone had come in and renovated quite a bit. So the kitchen is very big, super big kitchen with an island, and then there's a little office nook under the stairs. I wanted to use not base game cabinets because typically I would use base game cabinets, the expensive ones, or I would use Parenthood. Those are my favorite ones, and the ones from Dream Home Decorator. Those are the best for sure. So I use this one. I believe this is from the Spellcasters. I'd never use any of the cabinets that have countertops that are tiles. That's something our parents did, and they should be ashamed of themselves. Idiots. Maybe it was their parents. I don't know. But it's not our generation. It's not the generation after me, baby. Gen Z and Millennial, I know we're got a little bit of a tiff right now for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. But we got to be united on the fact that we are not going to put tiles with grout on our kitchen counters. Quit that. Don't ever do that. Gross. Anyway. Just putting in a backsplash, not really sure what to do. Went for black. I don't know. Went for this kind of brick thing. I would never do that in my real life because this seems like a lot of texture, a lot of places to harbor bacteria. So I wouldn't suggest, but that's what I put in this build. But I wanted to fill up this little space under the stairs. I probably could have done something else with it, but I like the way it looks. I think it turned out cute. I don't use this desk very often. I like one of the desks that we got with werewolves, and the other one, the door one, you know, the clearly disheveled one, isn't my favorite. I'm glad we have something like that. It's just not for me and the way that I like to build. But we're moving on to the living room. I kind of struggled in here. It's not small by any means, but it's not the size that I like to make my living rooms. I would have preferred to have one more tile, or even maybe just leave the dining room open. That would have left enough room between the couch and the chairs. But because I wanted to have like it closed in some, that kind of creates an awkward walkway. So I just decided to wall the whole dining room in and have separate spaces, which honestly would be more true to this design style anyway. So I wasn't that mad about it. And it gave me a little extra, you know, half tile basically in the living room. And look at that. I sized up that rug and found a good place for it. It's still not the best. Wish it wasn't that size, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? You know, funnily enough, I don't love any of the fireplaces from the occult packs. They're very annoying and large and ostentatious. They're a little obnoxious. So I don't love any of them. This was the best one, I thought, but it's pretty wide. It's like 3 tiles instead of 2. But I don't know. I think this room came together. I didn't want it to seem too bland, so I thought I would throw in those curtains, and then I ended up hating them and I just took them out. The problem is we just don't have enough curtains for medium or tall wall heights. You know, I think they figured that out eventually, but we're still lacking considerably. Could y'all just not make the same curtains for every wall height? Every time you give us a curtain, you gotta give us 3. Like, I just don't think that that's that hard. Like, give it like 1 for each wall height. Frustrating, darling. It is frustrating. As you can see, I used that wallpaper again in the living room, just kind of cluttering it up. I really liked that curio cabinet. I think it's from Vampires with the skull in it. Really like that piece. I thought it looked good in that corner. And then I'm just throwing in some lighting. So upstairs, unfortunately, I did that really cute thing that I do sometimes where I forget to hit record before I start placing items. And yeah, so the end of this build, the 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms on the second floor are going to go by in less than a minute, basically. So yeah, that's my bad. But it ended up being pretty cute. I like all 3 of these bedrooms. I really like that I used all this wallpaper. I think the nursery is my favorite of the 3, but I really liked them all. I think they turned out really cute. And I gave another office nook area just because I had the space for it back in this corner. And I don't know, you could do anything with that corner realistically. But that's kind of the end of the video. If you're new here, please hit subscribe. That'd be really cool. And it's free, you know, so you might as well. It's like signing up for like a reward system. It's free. It's for free. It's not hurting nobody. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I upload new videos on Mondays and Thursdays. I hope you all are doing well, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!